And now for the full interview with Peter Filichia for God Shows Up. Wonderful play, so clever and witty.
We are at the opening of
God Shows Up,
written by
Peter Filichia.
And what inspired you to come down like the wrath of God on these horrible evangelists? It's almost like shooting fish in a barrel.
Well, I suppose it is. No, actually this happened because of the Theatre World Awards, which I do every June. Eric Krebs came to see them, and he said to me, you know, I think you're kind of funny. And I've had an idea for a play. What would happen if God came down to Earth? How would he react to people and what they've done with the planet? And so I said, okay. I also said, well, Eric, this sounds like a commission to me, so I think you should write a check, which he generously did. I mean, usually they say, well, you know, we'll take a look at it later and see what we think. No, he wrote out a check. So that was certainly enough motivation, but that was a year and a half ago already, because it took time to write it, and I do 3 columns a week, and I've been working on other shows too. But we did a bunch of readings. At first it was called Back from Serendipity, because my concept is that where has God been all this time? He's been on our sister planet Serendipity, which he made a long time ago, just when he made the Earth, but he wanted to see how the 2 planets would do independently of each other. So they're so far away from each other, as God says, the left one doesn't know what the right one is doing. But he liked it on Serendipity. The people were really nice there, and the implication is they were nicer than the people we have here on Earth, especially as the televangelists. It's amazing to me how these guys do so well with people. I mean, yeah, I'm in a lot of hotel rooms, and on Sunday morning I turn on and I see these people in these enormous arenas packed with people who just really believe what they are told. I guess people really just need to believe. It gives them hope, and fine, but I don't buy much of it, not much at all.
You know, I just realized something. I now understand how Trump got elected. The mentality of people that follow televangelists, they follow Trump.
Yeah, I don't believe that Trump believes what he says, but he knows what to say. And these people, of course, will never feel that they made a mistake. They're going to stand by him no matter what. I know that when he finally is thrown out of office, they're going to say they were out to get him. And, you know, they were, just as they were out to get Al Capone and John Dillinger and Gotti and all the other people. You know, it's really too bad that we have a society that really, a world really, that needs to believe certain things. I believe, well, I believe everything and I believe nothing, which sounds like a quote from Oscar Wilde. Actually, it's a quote from Inspector Clouseau. But I think it's true. I mean, nothing can shock me. You know, I've lived a long, long time, and so nothing shocks me when something, you can tell me anything wonderful about a person, and I'll say, yeah, it could be true, and it's something terrible about that same person, yeah, it could be true. You know, so we all have dark sides. Mine's a Lulu, but that's another story. Anyway, so, you know, who knows what to believe. Yes, in this play that I maintain that God made Herman and Bertha, not Adam and Eve. And my word is as good as anybody else's, because who wrote these books? You know, just guys who were writers, that's all they were. How do we know that these just weren't good stories that people wanted to tell? I often think, years later, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John was sitting around. They said, gee, you know those stories in that Bible, they were good stories. We should have more stories about God.
We need a sequel.
We need a sequel. Son of God. Yeah, that's great. And so, you know, yeah, you could walk on water. Yeah, you could change water into wine. You know, maybe that's what happened. We don't know. We weren't there. And I do question greatly the accuracy of these books. I mean, for years, people couldn't understand in Henry V, Shakespeare's play, what Mistress Quickly meant when she talked of Falstaff's death, that he tabled of green pastures, and nobody could figure it out until they found a first folio or something which said he babbled of green pastures, and people said, oh, that's the 23rd Psalm. He was saying it as he was dying because he was praying. So the point is, you know, that mistakes get made, passed down. Who knows that maybe some of those thou shalt nots really were thou shalts? Who knows? Who knows?
They didn't have autocorrect back then.
No, not even whiteout. You know, so it was really quite tough. So, you know, that's why I believe everything and I believe nothing.
Well, and you must have had so much fun writing it, because the whole opening, oh my God, so many word plays, and I love word plays. I mean, and my head was spinning. I couldn't stop laughing.
Well, that's a lovely compliment. I'm so glad you feel that way. And I'll tell you this, we talk about a lot of products that are being sold, and those products, including Ketchup with Jesus Ketchup, because let us praise him from my head to my toes, meaning tomatoes. That's a real product. You can actually buy Ketchup with Jesus Ketchup. You can get that on T-shirts. Google it. You'll see what I mean. Google image, and you will find at least 50 items with Ketchup with Jesus Ketchup. So nothing's funnier than the truth, and that's why I certainly never thought for a second of inventing products. I knew that if I just looked for them, I would find these products that people really and truly buy because they want to show their faith.
I love, like, Kinky Fumi, the Texas Jew Boys. Why don't they make Jews like Jesus anymore?
Oh, yeah. It's funny. I saw a children's production of Finian's Rainbow not long ago, and there was Senator Rockins saying, immigrants. My family has had trouble with them ever since they came to this country. And I mean, so there's so many ways that, you can interpret all these things that people believe and how they feel. Anyway, I just took a stance on it, and
They've got a great cast. Oh my gosh, they're wonderful.
weren't they? I was very lucky. I hate to suffer from someone's misfortune, but what had happened was there was a wonderful off-Broadway play called Daniel's Husband, and it closed December 30th, and we started rehearsals January 2nd, which allowed Lou Liberatore to join us as God, and so we were very lucky to have this Tony nominee grace our cast. But wow, Christopher Sutton. Now the irony is that Christopher Sutton, who plays the evangelist, is somebody I've reviewed. I mean, I make my living as a critic, and thank God I said he was good in previous outings, because he quoted chapter and verse of my reviews that I had written about him. And I just saw him in Matilda at the Walnut Street Theater in Philadelphia, and I called him hilarious. So he thought I was awfully bright, so he was certainly up for the task. And our director, Christopher Scott, knew Maggie Bonfield, who I think is just so wonderful. She plays two parts. However, it's interesting that at two different performances, somebody has come up to me and said, how come the girl at the beginning didn't come out and take a bow? Well, because it's the same actress, and they couldn't even tell. And that's one of the greatest compliments a performer can get, when you play two roles and people don't even know that it's two people.
She's also a good writer, too.
Oh, yeah. In fact, one of the biggest laugh lines in the play comes from her. I'll admit that very quickly. So she asked if she could put it in. I thought it was a great idea, and it never fails to get a Titanic laugh. So, all these things are collaboration. Everybody helps, or at least everybody tries. In this case, everybody helped.
Well, congratulations. I hope the audience shows up for God shows up.
We'll see. Thanks so much. I appreciate it.